Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Magical Artist Tour. I'm Brian Chapman for Topanga New Times. This is episode 2. Did I mention that already? I don't know. I'm going to keep going. Today we have Idelle Tyzbir, and in a conversation with Diane Mather. But before we get to that, I want to just address this pile of mail that we got just from yesterday's episode. This is so touching and sweet. I just want to read a couple of these because I don't know, I'm just very touched. This one, Crushing on Olivia, Gru. We're going to pass that on, Gru. I'm sure that'll be meaningful. This one, I don't even know what to make of it. Given me a million reasons to come to Topanga, Lady Gaga. Could be real. This one had a line I liked. You're like a human Kermit the Frog. Thank you. Anyway, it goes on and on. Thank you so much. We're very touched, all of us that are working on this little project, and just keep watching. Appreciate it. Let's get into the interview, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
This is Diana Mather for Topanga New Times, today with magical artist Idelle Okman Tyzbir. Hi, Idelle.
Hello, how are you?
Great.
Good.
What's happening in your studio these days?
Well, I've got 2 pieces up for the Topanga Canyon Gallery Studio Tour 8x8s online. And so that's a fun and exciting event since we had to not have it in the gallery because of all of the things that have been going on. It's our first online.
You've selected Paradise 2020,
right,
for one of your 8x8s, and another one is Dutch Iris.
Right.
There's a
right.
detail of an iris. Why did you pick those? Any reason?
Well, I'm pretty crazy about the bird of paradise, which is what paradise is. And I had taken a photograph of it, and it just spoke to me, and I needed to paint it. So I thought this was perfect, and it's very happy. And I just had come across the other iris, the Dutch iris. I don't have too many of those, and it was just a nice variation. And so when things speak to me, I try and get them onto canvas or paper or metal, depending on what I'm doing.
Were those subjects from your own garden?
Yes.
Fantastic. I love your sunflowers, which doesn't have the frontal view of the sunflower like so many of us would see it, but you have the profile of a sunflower.
The intricacies of the underneath is so incredible to me. It's just beautiful detail that you forget to look at. And I think often I like close-ups because then you see all those details that you don't really get a chance to look at.
You know, I might be jumping ahead, but since we're talking about how your eye notices things that are not obvious to a viewer, I'd like to mention your watercolor, I think, of the Los Angeles Freeway, which to most people is such a nightmare and such an ugly thing, and yet you've made us all step back and look at, was that the 101?
It could be in lots of different places. It's a pretty much of a compilation. And it just, sometimes it just is beautiful. Once you get over the part of sitting in traffic, the lights and the way the light hits the ground, and if you're not going very fast, you can see more of it. So I just had to try. Sometimes you'd have to put a different light on things, look at the world a little different way.
It made me realize I was really part of something special when I was sitting on the freeway.
Good. Yeah, good. I like it.
Tell us about your media.
Well, I'm a little on the wild side, I think. I do mixed media metal sculptures, and they almost always include glass and wire, as well as steel, frequently copper, and just some other bits of things every so often. So that's something that I've been doing for a long time, and I'm really, it's just an innate part of me. I also favor watercolor, and I just love the way watercolor, in a sense, paints itself. It's free. When I work with metal, it's always very hot and difficult to work with, and I just need that break and refreshing to go to something that can move all by itself with a little help. So it's an important aspect for me, and it depends, it takes a lot of muscle, and it's exhausting to work with metal, and then you get that beautiful release when you work with water.
You really are at both ends of the spectrum with your delicate watercolors and then your metal sculptures. Some of them are quite large and fierce
Yeah.
installations.
Yes. Yeah, the really big ones I have to send out to a fabricator, but the one that is it's like a signpost. It's a directional signpost that was made for the city of Santa Clarita, and it's 15 feet tall, weighs 1,200 pounds. So that was exciting to see installed, because it had came in on a hoist, and that was really impressive.
It must be a thrill to have public art that people are regularly enjoying
Yeah,
and
yeah.
getting
What
to
I
live them.
find what I find amazing is that it turns up, photos of it turn up in the most unexpected places. They'll be in wedding photography, and the urgent care. I got a call from my daughter saying, "Hey, your artwork is in this urgent care." And it was a photo of that piece, and I find that often. People like to pose with my work, which is very nice, gratifying.
What is inspiring you these days?
I'm always inspired by nature, and often by the human condition. And I don't always represent the human condition as a human. One of the pieces that I did recently, called "When the Hot Wind Blows," or Hot Winds Blow, it was a statement about when life gets hard, and the things that I was thinking about were all the fires and the hurricanes, and then all the things that are happening recently all tie into it. It's just like a hot wind sweeping through, and I just think about how we recover from these things, and how we build from it. And if you see that piece, it almost ties in with what you were saying about the freeway. There's a beauty, in our ability to recover and to build again and to restore. And so that's my message. It's about human resiliency and what we're capable of.
You have a similar piece, a sculpture, I think, that's entitled Out of the Ashes or From the Ashes.
From the ashes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me, sorry, a little slight refresher on that.
Oh, I think I saw it up on your website. You have a big body of work, but it reminded me of the same theme. It looked
Yeah,
like.
it could be. I think probably a recurring thing, how we regenerate.
Tell us about the Paris street scene that you're talking about.
Well, Paris is really fun. And I just, I just wanted to represent Paris, and then put a little bit of silliness in it, I guess. Because I have a couple walking with a poodle, a French poodle. But there's a waiter at one of the outdoor cafes holding a tray and a child reaching up asking for something, and it was just a kind of a very human feeling that I liked about Paris.
Yeah, I wish I was in that picture. That's a that's a charming slice of life.
Yeah, yeah.
One
Very
of our
nice.
happy moments.
Yes.
Idelle, tell us about your studio. What are your working premises like? And how are you interacting with them?
Well, I find it hysterical, honestly. I took over the entire house and probably the yard, but I have my workshop for metal in the garage, and no cars are allowed. So, you know, poor husband has to have the cars outside. And I have one room for my actual painting studio, although I do paint in other places in the house, but that's where all of my equipment is for painting. And then my living room is my gallery, as well as hallways are my gallery. I teach in my house, so my family room is set up for teaching art. And yeah, I have a bedroom and a guest room. So, but in the guest room is loaded with paintings. So,
So there's really no walking away from it, at least.
oh, once you're in Idell's world. Yeah, it's really pretty funny. But I notice when people come in, their their eyes are just going everywhere because it's nice. It's really nice. Nice feeling.
Now, you've taught in formal settings at College of the Canyons,
Right.
and you just mentioned that you also teach inside your home studio. How do people find your students? Uh, How, how do students find you as a teacher?
Um, well, to come into my house, it's really by invitation only. And so I meet people, or I'm also part of Art Tree out in Santa Clarita, and that's a nonprofit group. And so I've met people through there. I just meet them through various walks of life, or people seeing my artwork and having questions, and then referrals. It's very nice. It's very, very nice. I also taught elementary school art for 14 years. So I've been involved in teaching forever. I think it's just a part of my nature. I like to share. And one thing I'll just say right now about that is I just recently started up again teaching in the house after all the COVID stuff. So just a few, we're spaced, we're wearing masks and all that. But the feeling of being able to help people create beautiful art and to talk about it and to think about it so strongly again is it was it was really enlightening to see how much that is a part of me and how much I love it. And so I just had to say that.
Yeah, it must be wonderful to be part of the solution in that way.
Yeah, yeah, it's great.
Is there advice that you find yourself repeating to artists who are just starting out on their journey?
Really to be patient, not to be over critical of yourself, to let yourself grow and not be afraid to try new things. Failure is part of learning, and just to keep at it.
Thank you so much for sharing your studio with us
You're
on this
welcome.
year's virtual tour. And
Thank
I'm trusting that your 8x8s at the Topanga Canyon Gallery online auction are going to find fitting appreciators.
I
And
hope so. Thank you.
thank you so much, Idelle.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Sweet. Thank you, Idelle. Thank you, Diane. I'm Brian Chapman for Topanga New Times, and this has been episode 2 of the Magical Artist Tour. We'll see you next time. Until then, be safe, be good to each other, and make art. Bye-bye.